Tonight I bring you two terrifying stories that happened inside Walmart and one chilling encounter from a truck driver on the roads of Mexico. These are not just stories, they are real experiences that will leave you questioning what hides in the dark. Hi Dante. I worked for 6 months at a Walmart supercenter in Los Angeles, California. I've always been interested in the paranormal, but I never thought something would happen to me. The store was huge, bigger than the usual ones, with high ceilings and aisles that seemed endless. The gardening area was separate, outside the main store, so to speak. Even though there were cameras and security rounds, we employees knew there were dead zones where the cameras didn't capture everything clearly. No one said it out loud, but we all avoided one specific area in the late afternoon and evening: gardening. That section was often left completely alone late at night. People said a man appeared there, just a figure up between the upper shelves, never fully visible. Some caught glimpses of him from the corner of their eye, others felt like someone was following them. I never saw anything, until I was assigned to that area. It was a Tuesday, almost 9:30 p.m. The store was nearly empty. They sent me to check prices in the gardening section before closing. I went reluctantly. I'd already heard the stories, but I didn't believe in any of it. As soon as I got there, the first thing I noticed was the silence. There was usually a soft hum from the fans, but this time, nothing. I walked through the area and started checking labels. When I turned to write down a code, I caught something in the corner of my eye, a shape between the bags of soil. I spun around quickly, but no one was there. I laughed to myself, thinking maybe I was just letting the stories get to me. But after taking just a few more steps, I heard something, like someone slowly dragging their feet behind me. I turned again, nothing. But then, a light at the far end of the section flickered twice and went out. Then it came back on. "Is someone there?" I asked, trying to sound firm. A loud thud echoed through the place, like something heavy had fallen to the floor, but I couldn't see anything. I rushed to finish my task. As I was walking toward the end of the aisle, I felt it again, that presence, like someone breathing right behind my neck. I turned around, and this time I saw it. It was a person, tall, taller than any human I've seen. It had no face, just a dark silhouette with long arms. It was standing at the back of the section, between the shovels and hoses. Seeing it froze me in place. I don't know how long I stood there staring. I couldn't scream, couldn't run. And then, in a blink, it vanished. I ran straight to the front registers where 2 of my coworkers were. I told them what I saw, and they laughed at me. One of them, a gringo, just said, "It's happened to a bunch of us. That figure always shows up back there." I couldn't sleep that night. The next day I asked to be moved to a different section, but I never felt comfortable again. Nothing like that ever happened to me again. But not long after, I decided to quit for good. Hi Dante, my name is Diego. I work at a Walmart in Mexico City and have been on the night shift for almost 3 years. I usually handle groceries, but also help with unloading and warehouse organization. This started after a schedule change. The manager assigned me, Mauricio, and Don Alvaro to help in the storage warehouse because of a seasonal shipment. It was a long shift, 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., moving boxes and checking pallets. The warehouse is huge, not the one customers see. It was around 2 a.m. when we heard a strange noise. At first, we thought it was a pallet falling, but everything was in place. The sound was like a box dragging itself. We stood still, listening. Then we heard something fall, but again, nothing was out of place. We went back to work, but 10 minutes later, we heard footsteps. Light ones, like someone walking barefoot through the metal aisles. Mauricio joked it might be a cat, but nothing can get in there. The place is sealed off before 10. Don Alvaro just said, "It's better not to ask. Let's finish quickly." I gave him a look. He's worked here longer, and I'd never seen him so serious. From then on, the atmosphere changed. We felt like someone rushed past us at times. Then Mauricio stopped talking. He looked pale. He said he saw a shadow move at the end of the aisle. Don Alvaro simply said, "Sometimes it happens." He lowered his voice and told us a worker had died there years ago, crushed between 2 pallets after a forklift malfunction. Ever since, people say they hear noises and see strange things, especially around that time of year. We weren't sure if he was serious, but we worked faster just in case. Around 5 a.m., I had to get something from the cold room at the far end. No automatic lights there. I walked alone with a flashlight and felt someone behind me. I heard faint footsteps matching mine. I grabbed the package quickly and walked straight back without turning around. At the end of the shift, Mauricio told me he saw a figure standing by the employee bathrooms, turned away, not wearing a uniform. We didn't imagine this. We weren't the only ones either. Sometimes alarms go off, or motion sensors detect movement without reason. Don Alvaro says not everyone sees the entity, but those who do never forget it. I don't know if the accident story is real or if it started as a rumor, but the feeling of someone being there when no one is, that's real enough to keep you from walking alone back there. If you ever work a night shift like this, you'll understand. Hey Dante, this is my story. I've been a trucker for over 20 years. I've driven all across Mexico and always thought of myself as someone grounded and rational. But what happened to me on a trip between Puebla and Toluca left me shaken. I haven't wanted to take that road again. That day I left Puebla around noon, hauling auto parts to a distribution center near Toluca. I took the route through Huauchinango, crossing the Sierra Norte de Puebla, then connecting to the Valley of Mexico. It was longer, but less traffic. Peaceful, or so I thought. After passing Zacatlan, it started to rain and the fog set in. I lost radio signal. Didn't see any other cars, just my truck and silence. In one curve I saw a red light between the trees. Not from a car. It looked like an old oil lantern hanging from a wooden pole. Under it stood a woman, barefoot, torn clothes, hair stuck to her face from the rain. Her expression was blank and strange. Thinking she needed help, I slowed down, rolled down my window and asked if she was okay. She didn't answer. I honked, nothing. But as I passed her, she slowly turned her head and looked straight at me. Her stare was terrifying, like an angry animal. That image haunted me. I kept checking my mirrors as I drove. At one point, I saw something on top of the trailer, like someone riding it. I froze, but didn't stop. A few kilometers later, I saw the same red light, the same woman, and what looked like the same spot. But now she wasn't alone. There were smaller figures behind her. I panicked, gripped the wheel and drove past without looking, but I felt something had come with me, inside the cab. I didn't dare turn around. Then the truck started shaking. I pulled over to check. One of the tires wasn't flat. It was torn, like scratched by claws. Back in the cab, I glanced up and saw her again, standing on a rock wall far behind me, still watching. I hit the gas and didn't stop until I found a federal checkpoint. I told the officers what happened, but they didn't believe me. Thought I was on something. I swore I wasn't. Days later, at a truck stop near Atlacomulco, I told another driver what I'd seen. He looked at me and said, "You saw her, the woman with the red light. She's a witch, doesn't want help, just wants to scare you, sometimes causes accidents." He told me others had seen her too. Some even crashed. Now I avoid that road. I'd rather take the long way. I was lucky she didn't make it inside the cab.